Salute everyone out there. What's going on? It's your main man, Mark Fuller. Another Free World Order video archive for you. I want to shoot straight into this topic today. Before I do that, thank you everyone who has subscribed to the YouTube channel, who has liked us on Facebook, and those of you who have contributed financially to the Free World Order, helping us inch closer and closer to reaching our primary and first goal of raising $1 billion in order to build the first resource-based city in the world. From this city will come the blueprint for future cities that we will build, utilizing resources without money. A lot of people still don't get the fact that we're talking about creating a paradigm where every human being on the planet Earth will be provided for without exception. We're talking about no more borders. We're talking about no more, I'm not going to say no more nations, but objectively, no more separation of nations. Let me put it like that. Nations will be working together instead of doing what it is that we're doing now, which is what? Trying to destroy each other for what reason? It's just stupid. Anyway, let me shoot straight into my topic. How can the 300 richest people have the same amount of wealth as the poorest 3 billion people? Now, that is an actual factual piece of information. It's documented. The richest 300 people in this system own the equivalent, if not more, than the poorest 3 billion people on the planet Earth. Now, you tell me, does that reflect a system that makes sense, for one? Two, is distributing the resources in a way where you don't have such a disparity? And people argue all day about, if you believe, you can achieve. If you this, you can that, yada, yada. If you da. I mean, I'm all for self-motivation, self-help. I'm all for that. But you really have to look at the environment in this society and in the societies really across this planet to really see if that even is something that's feasible. If you're born in a country where you are barely able to even eat a meal in a day, like your objective for the day is to find food, does that really apply to you? Does, if you believe it, you could achieve it, really apply to you? Does that even mean anything to you? You understand my point? If you have a child starving to death in front of you, a positive attitude, does that really apply to you? You see the point that I'm trying to make? You really have to realize something. Lip service and cliche quotes and all of this bullshit that people say. And I'm saying that it's bullshit because you have to look at the way that things are, and you have to look at the context in which something is said in order to see if it even makes sense and if it's applicable for a person. Just like me telling someone, that's like me going to a country where people are starving. They can barely eat. They don't have clean water. They have rundown homes, if any home. They're living in the slums. They're living in a horrific environment, drinking dirty water, getting sick from that, getting sick and dying from diseases that are not applicable in the westernized world at all. People are dying from malaria. Malaria? Like, you understand what I'm saying? People are dying from tetanus. Tetanus? Dying from simple things that can be totally avoided. But it is happening because of a system in place that creates such a disparity between people who have wealth and those who don't, that you create the environment that these people are in, period. I'm not making this up. One of the favorite statistics that I like to use when I talk in these videos, every year, 3 million children under the age of 5 die from starvation. Children under the age of 5. How many of you out there right now have a child under the age of 5? Just imagine for a moment if your child was dying from starvation. Literally starving to death. Imagine that. What would you be able to do about it if you don't have the resources to prevent that from happening or to avoid it in the first place? You don't have the means to even feed them simply because of where you were born in the world. Simply, your child is dying simply because of where they were born in the world. They were born to you, living in that part of the world at this point in time. Is there room really to tell someone like that to have a positive attitude? Something that they can't fathom. They're not even thinking along those lines of positive or negative. They're thinking about food. Food. The reason that I talk about these types of things is because I want to try to help people, especially in America, the land of milk and honey. I want to help you all to see something. Whatever amount of suffering or struggle that we are experiencing in America, it is minuscule in comparison to what horrific things other people on the same planet that we're living on are experiencing day to day. And by us perpetuating the system that's in place, we are allowing that to continue to go on. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So any system that comes along that someone tries to pitch, that involves money, that involves trade, that involves any of these things, business, capitalism, enterprise, any system that involves this is going to create disparity and is going to create that problem somewhere, somehow. It inherently will create that. Well, Mark, no, that's not true. All right. We already know that the government of many nations intervenes and meddles in the affairs of the citizens of that nation. Okay? We understand that. The point that I'm making is that the people always have the power, though. Always. How do you think governments have been overthrown in the past? All it has taken is for people to decide, we're not having this bullshit anymore. We're getting them out of here. They overthrow whoever's in charge, and then they replace it with, someone else of their choosing, chosen by the people. And although that has worked to some degree, I'm not even talking about that. That's not the solution, ultimately. It's not. The real solution is really admitting that the systems that we're using are not fit for human beings to live and to survive on this planet as a whole. I'm not talking about, well, most people live decent. In actuality, we have almost 1 billion people on planet Earth right now who are hungry. That's not most people are doing good. That's not what that is reflecting. That's reflecting a system that is creating disproportionate amount of resources and wealth moving in one direction, and the majority of the people not being in that direction to receive access to those resources and to that wealth. Instead of that, the alternative to that is to have a system that's really not even a system. It's really just common sense. We live on the planet Earth. Earth provides us with the resources that we're using now. And these systems, if we're able to do it in these systems now, as far as producing, creating, providing food, farming, agriculture, all of that stuff is automated at this point. There are machines that do so much of what human beings used to do. See, just like slavery was based on money and labor, it was based on money and labor because the labor represented the money that they did not have to spend to pay someone to till the land. What they did was they used slavery as a tool to force people to till that land. And in the process of doing that, hold on a second. Sorry about that. Somebody trying to ask me if I'm coming out my parking space. Hell no, I'm not coming out. But anyway, so in the process of that, you know, slavery is an awful thing because you're mentally, emotionally, physically, really literally destroying a human being and using fear and your superior weaponry. That's pretty much what it is. If you got a gun and I got a spear, you're going to win. You got a cannon and we got arrows, you're going to win. So if there's no defense against your weaponry, naturally you're going to be the one to control me and those that I'm with if we don't have the defense to defend against your bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So this is how people have control. People have control of the human beings all throughout time. It's through oppression, fear, and superior weaponry. That's how it's done. Just like in today's world, everybody's afraid of America's military because the military is superior to everyone else's. Right? All kind of missiles and tanks and guns being manufactured. Nobody is fucking with America. So, again, these are things that were put into place because I'm trying to show you and point out the underlying thing that it was based upon. It was based on being able to get labor in order to move whatever the labor force is into an industry. Just like at the time with slavery with black folks in America, the industry was the cotton industry. They wanted us here to pick cotton because textile and all, manner of clothing and whatever they wanted to use the textile industry for was in very high demand. And I'm talking about European nations demanded it. So what did they do? They went right to Africa, got some black folk, brought them to America, and we ended up here picking cotton. And it was horrific. It's, I don't even want to go into it because it's a very painful thing to even think about, to put a human being through that type of pain and suffering, stealing language, stealing the religion and belief system, their name. This is what was done to us. This is why I have a European last name, Fuller. That's not my my last name because if you trace that back, those are the Europeans that owned my ancestors according to slavery. You see, so this is real shit that I talk about. I'm not talking about bullshit. I'm talking about real things that are applicable to this world that we're living in. So dealing with things today, we now have science, technology, and the resources of the planet available to us. But it's not being used to benefit all people. And that's what the problem is. That's the problem that I have with all of this shit. So when people want to argue about, oh, yeah, but well, if you can't beat them, join them, and if well, what are you supposed to do? You can't do anything about it. You can do something about it. The first thing that you could do is get educated. That's what my platform is for. Free World Order educates, provokes your thoughts, and it gets you to question the fucking system that we live in. If you don't ask questions, nothing makes sense as it is. You're going to just leave it at that? Look at the title of this video. I just told you a fact. Why does 300 people, the richest 300 people, have the same amount of wealth as the poorest 3 billion people on planet Earth? That doesn't make any fucking sense. So if you don't see that and put your little antennas up to do, something should go off in your head and have you question, well, damn, what the fuck is that? Oh, well, there've always been rich and poor people. Yeah, because there's always been a system in place that creates rich and poor people. So the disparity, people want to, and it's like, then they, through the system and through everything that I was talking about earlier in the video, they want to get you to believe and to try to make your way from the bottom 3 billion into somewhere upper in the system, like to try to get ahead. But if you're getting ahead, that means that you're still leaving someone behind. You see what I'm saying? Do you see the fucking point that I'm trying to make? Oh, well, I'm just trying to get ahead. Okay, I understand. Everybody's fucking trying to get ahead. But even if you get ahead, you're still leaving people behind. Oh, well, that's their fault. Really? It's everybody's fault. So all the people across this planet, just like the people that I'm talking about whose children are starving to death, people that are hungry right now across the globe, it's their fault that they're fucking hungry, right? That's their fault. It's not the fault of a small group of people in a government that controls all of the resources and the distribution of resources, food, healthcare needs, and whatever people fucking need. It's not those people controlling and regulating what goes where and who receives what, right? That doesn't go on. If you're poor, it's your fault. Come on, get real. Get real. Oh, well, if you live in America, there's no excuse because there's opportunity all around you. There's opportunity all around you for what? I just asked the question. You're trying to get ahead of who? If you get ahead, that means that there are still people behind you. I'm not for that. I'm not for people being left behind. That's the fucking problem. That's the mentality that everybody has that keeps this fucking system going. It's like it's not clicking. It's something fucking wrong with the way that you are thinking. You should not be thinking that way. If you claim to be someone that, well, I love people and, I have love in my heart and I genuinely care about other people. You don't give a fuck about nobody when it's all said and done because you're not thinking as a human being who is concerned about all human beings. I'm concerned about all human beings. I don't have to know you personally. But knowing that people are in a fucked up position and knowing that there's a system in place causing that and knowing that we are keeping the system running, what the fuck does that tell you about us? We're the ones with the chips. We actually have the power and the control to change this shit. And you have to have at least a concept, an idea that makes sense to provide for all. Because if you don't, it's more the same bullshit. It's just like people will talk about whatever the next new thing is. Oh, we got cryptocurrencies now. It's not going to be any more money. Crypto fucking currencies. You think that people in some of these countries that are starving to death give a fuck about some cryptocurrency? They don't give a shit about cryptocurrency. They can't even have access to cryptocurrency in most of these countries. How is that helping them? That's my point. This is the argument. It's not even an argument. These are the facts. There is no argument against what I'm saying. People that want to argue with what I'm saying, they're trying to argue with the idea of the resource-based economy. And you can argue with that all day if you want to. That's fine. But you have to understand what's the underlying goal and intention of a resource-based economy versus capitalism, which is what we have now. What is capitalism supposed to produce? And how is that supposed to provide for all human beings? Is it even possible for it to provide for all human beings and within that system, or no? Is a resource-based system designed to provide for all? Yeah, that's the idea. Using resources intelligently, combined with science and technology to produce for everyone. It's like people act like that doesn't make sense. People act like that doesn't make sense at all. And I don't get it. That's better than the shit that we doing now. What are we doing now? You work on your job, you get your paycheck every 2 weeks, you pay your bills. If you get sick, God forbid, you miss a paycheck or two, you're behind in your rent or your mortgage. You're behind in some of your bills. Then you go back to work. Now you got to work overtime to try to get more money to pay back what you owe on your bills because you got behind because you got sick. And then when you work overtime, then you end up getting sick again because you're not getting enough rest. It's fucking stupid. Like that's life for most people within this system. That's your life. I just explained your life in a nutshell if you are in the labor force. And the labor force is only designed to consume. You guys are keeping the engine running so that these corporations can create products that you buy from them. And it keeps the whole engine running. It keeps the monetary system running. It keeps industries running. And it keeps the capitalistic society running. That's about it. Then aside from that, what do you got? You got entitlement programs from the government. You got welfare, Social Security, disability, Medicare, Medicaid, right? That's how they pacify people that can't finagle their way in the system and, get find employment or whatever the case may be. For those people, we got welfare. Here's some money for you to buy some food with. Here's some food stamps. At least you can eat. I mean, what the fuck? It's like I'm so agitated at times about the way people think about it. And really the lack of thought that people put into this shit. Most people don't think about shit. They just going through it like a fucking robot, not questioning nothing. All right, you want to do that? Then I don't want to fucking see you complaining on Facebook. I don't want to see you complaining and tweeting and talking shit about how your job sucks, this, that, and the third. Oh, I wish I had some more money. Oh, I want a house. I would love to have a house someday. Come on. We have something right now in our hands. A resource-based economy is the direction that we can move in. Is it the be all end all? No, nothing is. Is it utopia? No, nothing is. But it's a hell of a lot better than the bullshit that we're doing right now. Look at the disparity between the numbers that I just gave you. The richest 300 have the same amount of wealth as the poorest 3 billion. What the fuck is that? Are you serious? You should be fucking pissed off behind that. And you should want to do something about it. And we can do something about it. So anyway, on that note, let me end this video. Fucking 25 minutes. I didn't mean to go this long. But definitely make sure that you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure that you get yourself a monthly contribution plan. Start with $1. It ain't hurting you. It ain't hurting nothing. And the money that we raise is going to be used to assist the Venus Project with building the first resource-based city. That's what the Free World Order is here to do. That's what my platform is here for. We're here to raise money because we need money in order to get resources, land, materials, all of the shit that we need in order to have resources, in order to begin to generate clean, renewable energy. All of that shit costs money because of the system that we're already in. So we're going to use money to create a moneyless society that provides for who? All. Not some. Not a few of us. And then and everyone else is shitted on. We're going to provide abundantly for all people. That's the objective. That's the goal. And that's going to be what happens. Oh, well, how is that even possible? What do we have now? Think about it. Mark Fuller, I'm out. You guys take care. Peace and love. God bless. Make sure that you reach out to me on Facebook. Send me a friend request. Holla at me, all right? Also, give your feedback on the videos, all right? I'll talk to y'all. Deuce.